Hello everyone, it's Nick from Claret and Booze. I hope you're all well. Welcome to the Daily Ramble. I'm not wearing this hat as a fashion statement. I'm wearing it because I'm freezing. I'm in my loft and my heater is being used for something else in the house. It's bitter, isn't it? Oh. Right, before we get started, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that bell notification button. And if you enjoy the show, or even if you don't, please drop a like on it because it does really, really help us. What we're going to talk about today, well, David Moyes. David Moyes. I'm still talking about David Moyes. Now, look, I've been certain that David Moyes was going to be removed. I got a little bit of information from someone leading up to the Wolves game that said that we had somebody in place, and he was going to be replaced. You know, win, lose or draw. It was a done deal. That was obviously duff information. Or things have changed, you know. I don't know if there's any direction at the moment. I don't know if they know what they're doing. And I was certain, and I was definitely certain, even without information, just because it makes no logical sense that he would have been removed after the Wolves game. And I've been kind of refuting the claims from the ITKs that have been coming out saying, no, we've spoken to our senior sources, and they've been basically telling us that no, we're sticking with Moyes, we're backing Moyes, and I've been. It's heart over head. I've been kind of thinking, that doesn't make sense. And it is true, the board wouldn't tell the ITKs if they were about to sack someone because they can't. They physically can't tell them. Because if David Moyes caught wind of that, he could contractually, he could have them done, you know, for a breach of contract. He could drag them over the coals. Sort of unfair dismissal, all that type of thing. So that's why you never hear about a new manager coming in until the current manager is dismissed. It doesn't happen. It's different with managers. So I've been hanging on to that purely based on the fact that there is nothing. I can't see any reason, any benefit to hanging on to Moyes for the board. I can't see it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any football sense. It doesn't make any business sense, you know, especially because we know they've got their embarrassment clause, which is coming up, is set to expire at the end of March, coming into Easter. We know they're looking to sell. We know that they do want to sell eventually and reap the rewards of what they've done. You know, they want to ride off into the sunset. Well, that's all at risk if we go down, you know. And the news broke today. And again, you don't know whether you can believe this either, but you can only go off the back of what you've been told. This has been leaked. This has been leaked from the board that David Moyes is got his job on a game-by-game basis. Now, honestly, so if he beats Everton, who are terrible, he keeps his job. Everton are terrible. What does that even prove? If he beats Everton. In fact, I think whichever team loses that job, either Everton or David Moyes, they're going to be the ones that are going to ultimately benefit. It's a game that neither team, or probably neither sets of fans, wants their team to win deep down. You will when you're at the game, but then you'll leave the game afterwards and the realisation will hit, oh, fuck, we're stuck with them. Because they're both useless managers, the pair of them. But I don't care about Frank Lampard and Everton. All I care about is us and David Moyes and the issue that we've got. And seriously, the guy's he's gonna take us down. We're on 15 points after 19 games. He's had dead cat bounces before. He has. I called it after the last time we played Everton. I said, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna stick with him? Are we gonna keep him so he can grind out a shithouse win against Fulham? That's what he went and done. But then we ended up back at the same point. It's also broken that the payoff for David Moyes would be 7 million. Now, for me, in the grand scheme of things, when you consider the amount of money it would cost us to get relegated from the Premier League, 7 million is chicken feed in football terms, but not to these owners. They you know, it strikes me that everything's a problem for them. They'll happily piss money down the drain on loads of players, or unproven players, but they won't go out and they won't get a top manager in to get the best from the players that they're investing in. It makes no sense. And this kind of short-sighted view that we've got, it's getting so tired, it's getting so boring. These profiles of managers, why have we had to leave it to this point again? This is how we got Moyes in the first place, because they lack foresight. They're indecisive. And then you end up in a situation of emergency where you need a sticking plaster manager to come in and save you. And then that manager saves you, and then they give them the job, and then they inevitably fail in 6 months to 2 years, because that isn't their specialism. Their specialism is coming in and having an instant impact. Sticky plaster managers, they come in and generally they do the basics and they get you off to a flyer from the start. That's what they do. But then they fade. They're not project guys. So it's a constant circle all the time. You're going round in a loop. And it will happen again. We're in a situation now where I desperately wanted a progressive manager. I wanted a Potter. I wanted a Bielsa. I did. But when you look at Potter now, and you look at how long it can take to embed a new football style and football philosophy into a club, and sometimes it doesn't go very well, even at a top club with loads of talent. You look at that and you think, fuck me, we haven't got the games to do that. We haven't. We do now need someone that can almost just come in and do effectively what David Moyes has done, but do it better. Remove the David Moyes cloud, play maybe a system similar to what the players that are there are used to. Don't change too much, and just get them firing. Fix the obvious problems. That's probably what we need now, and that would get us through to the end of the season. It probably would do. It probably would work. But then, as a lot of fans did with David Moyes, and a lot of fans did, when he saved us, oh, he's our saviour, the Moyesiah. We've got to keep him. No, we've got to learn from our mistakes. We can't. We've had it firsthand now. These managers, if a manager comes in and he saves us, that was his job. That's what he's come in to do. A long-term project is different. So what I would love us to do now is to sack Moyes. Probably, whatever happens, by hook or by crook, we've got to stay in the Premier League. It would be good if we got someone that could win a trophy as well, because if we win that Europa Conference League, then we're in the Europa League next year. It's going to make it much easier for us to attract a better manager to come in and take the project onwards. So that's what we need from this season. The Premier League season is a dead rubber. We can't get anywhere near the top 10. All we can hope for is survival. It's fucked, right? It's gone. So is points by any means necessary? I hate the football, but if it has to be a Rafa Benitez or a Sean Dyche, so be it. But a temporary role. My personal preference would be Rafa Benitez in that scenario. And I know loads of people are going to disagree with that. But that would be my preference. I'd have no issue with that. I think in the scenario that we are now in, because we'd have been in a different position if they'd have gone after the Leicester game, before the World Cup break. You could have got a new manager in with a new football philosophy that would have had almost a full pre-season to get himself started, to embed himself in. They'd be flying by now. That would have been the right thing to do at that point. At this point, I'm not so sure. So out of the managers that we're talking about now that could come in and do a recovery job, I think Benitez is probably about the best that we can hope for. And I don't think it's a terrible appointment on a temporary basis. He did wonderful things at Chelsea. He failed at Everton, but he was always going to. He was on a hide into nothing there. They hate him because he was a Liverpool legend, Liverpool fans, Liverpool supporters, maybe not so much now because he went to Everton, but they adored him. He was a hero there. Newcastle, the same. Valencia, the guy's a bit of an infectious character. He's not a bald puppet either. He isn't. He's renowned for causing trouble with the owners. Benitez would feel like he was one of us. Whereas David Moyes from day one, what I have never liked about him, and I don't like this with managers, he's always looks like a company man, like he's one of them, like he's an extension of them. They can hand him a script to go and throw himself under the bus to save them. He'll do it with a smile on his face. We don't need that. We need someone that's going to challenge them. But I suppose it's irrelevant for a 6-month deal anyway. But yeah, if that were to happen, then that's fine. I think Benitez for 6 months would be fine. But the less of this season that we have left, it's going to become impossible. It's going to become impossible. We're already 4 points worse off than when Moyes came in and saved us, the great Moyes. So 300 million later, which is less money than Arteta has spent in the same period, David Moyes has returned us back to where he found us. And we've still got fans that are fucking Moyes apologists that, are still crowing on about what he's done. And, I'm not upset. I don't feel anything for David Moyes now. He stayed too long. As far as I'm concerned, he can go. If he'd have gone at the start of the season, I'm someone that doesn't like David Moyes. I would have credited him. I would have said, yeah, he's done a good job. He's laid good foundations. Thank you very much, Moyes. That's great. But from what I've seen this season, with all due respect, he can fuck off. I've had enough of him. I don't want to see him. I don't feel any fondness towards him at all now. I just want him gone. But going back to what I was saying earlier on, now they're saying he's got the job on a game-by-game basis. Well, so he beats Everton, yeah? He beats Everton. Now, they haven't sacked him for the previous 7 or 8 games that we've had, They haven't sacked him for those. We got 1 point. We've had 1 point out of 24. So they're not going to sack him. If they keep him after Everton, they're not going to sack him for losing against Newcastle, Chelsea or Tottenham. They're not. What sense would that make? You would imagine that they wouldn't expect him to win those games because they know David Moyes. He doesn't win those games. He just doesn't. So that means the next must-win game would probably be Nottingham Forest in 5 games' time. And I think the cycle will just keep repeating itself like that. He'll get the odd result, draw or win, every 3 or 4 games that will keep him in this job. That's what he'll do. And then eventually, ultimately, they will sack him. My new prediction now, because I don't know what's going on. But it looks like they're in full suicide mode, the board. It does. So my new prediction is that they don't want the big payoff and they don't want the expense of having to get rid of all the backroom staff and bringing a new backroom staff in. They don't want that. And they don't want, that's what I think that they don't want. This 7 million payout is probably leaving a bad taste in their mouth. So I think what they will do, they will pull the trigger when they have to, probably with less than 10 matches to go. And then probably what we'll see is Mark Noble coming in a caretaker role, Trevor Brooking style, to come and magically save us, which will mean they can retain all of the backroom staff who are just as culpable for this mess as David Moyes. I don't want any of them. I like Nolan, I do. But look, they're all part of the same problem. I want them all gone, and I want a new backroom staff, a new setup to come in. It's all gone stale, That's kind of what I want. But we're not going to get that. It's quite obvious what we're going to get, unless David Moyes, by some miracle, loses at home to Everton, who are shit at the moment. He's going to have to go especially he's under threat, so he's going to have to come out and go all guns blazing, really, isn't he? I think in this one we will see something different because up to this point the board have been publicly backing him. Well, this time they've basically said if you don't win, you're gone. But that win will save his job. So this win against Everton will save his job. This win against an absolutely crap team. This is a 10% Everton team. They are awful. They're losing to everyone. They went 1-0 up against Southampton, bottom of the league. They ended up losing it 2-1. They are awful. So the odds are that David Moyes, he definitely should beat Everton. He probably will. And what that means is that we've got him for a while yet. Probably another 8 to 10 games, I'd say, until it gets to the point where they can bring in that caretaker manager without the badges, which I think is about 3 months. With about 3 months left. And they haven't got to worry about going out and spending money on a new manager. It doesn't make it. I keep on saying it doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense. Do they want to sell? Is this Sullivan's parting gift? Has he gone full turbo? Has he had enough of us? Is he sick of us? Is this his parting gift? Fuck all you lot. All that grief you've been giving us. This is what I'm going to do to you. Off you go to the Championship. Is this part of the plan? Has he already sold the club, but we just don't know it? And now because he's got the controlling stake, is he just driving it down? Is he driving us down because he's still got the reins? What is going on? Nothing makes any sense. David Moyes won't save us. We could beat Everton. Like we beat Fulham after we beat Everton last time. Like I predicted we would, because he will beat the odd team. It will happen. Honestly, I'm so fed up with this now. And how much can we as fans put up with this? Chris Moyes put a response to a post that I put on Facebook the other day. And Chris Moyes is a dedicated fan that lives up north, travels to every game, is a season ticket holder, home and away, goes to more or less every game, but goes to all the away games. And you can't get more dedicated than him, but he's basically, the end of his post, he said, I don't know how many of these Groundhog Day scenarios I can take. He said it's the same thing, you know. And what he was referring to was this cycle of emergency managers that we keep and then we have to get rid of, and then we get another one in because we leave it too long before we replace them. It's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's so boring. It's so boring. They're short-sighted. They've been in. Sullivan's been in football for so long, yet he still hasn't managed to work out that this kind of short-sighted view is, and going for cheap managers. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know, it never has worked. It's not going to work. So look, I don't know anymore. I don't know. I'm sorry if I got your hopes up through being so confident that Moyes was going to be removed. I was trying to get my own hopes up. I was trying to keep my own spirits up. You know, I physically have to believe that he's going to go. I can't believe that he's going to stay here. I can't. It's driving me fucking mad. It really is. So no, but I am. But do you know what? It's breaking me. They are breaking me to a degree. You know, you saw John go yesterday because of the interview. But this is starting to wear me down. I can take us being shit, but I can't take the thought that we're not going to fight back. And sticking with David Moyes means that we ain't even going to fight back. We're going to just lay down and go out with a whimper. That's what I think we're going to do. I can't swallow that. You know, at least give us a fighter's fucking chance, Sullivan. But anyway, look, that's it from me. That's enough. That's enough moaning. Like I say, if I did get your hopes up, I'm sorry. It was all, you know. I'm trying to be positive myself, thinking he's going to go. He's got to go. That's it. But I'm just not so sure anymore. I'm not so sure. I think he's here. I think he's here to stay. And I can't keep talking about it all the time either. I can't keep watching that football, and I can't keep talking about this. I'm starting to feel a little bit like Chris. How many times can we suffer this fucking Groundhog Day over and over and over again? I went back to the review that I did after the last Everton game when I officially went Moyes out. I posted it on Twitter yesterday. The report, everything I was saying, it was like I just said it after the Wolves game because it was all the same thing. If you watch that back, it's 6 minutes long. It's exactly the same as what I said after the Wolves game just recently. And that was 4 months ago. 13 Premier League games has expired since that point. What is going on? So why do I think they're going to act now if they didn't act then? I don't know. It's just blind hope, isn't it? Blind hope. But look, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy it, please drop a like on the video because, like I said, it does help. It tells YouTube to share it around. We really appreciate it. And yeah, come on, you irons. Speak to you soon.